Hi everyone, it's Laurie from Cook Scrap Craft. Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a scrapbook and cards today inspiration magazine layout for you. I'm taking inspiration from a Paige Evans layout that was in the summer 2022 issue. She did nested stars, and I really liked the way that looked. I do not have nested stars die cuts or nested stars cut file access or nested stars shapes. So what I'm doing is I'm actually using something I have never used before, and it is a Creative Memories oval cutting system. Now, I'm getting a little confused as I start out because for some reason I thought that the shapes Paige used were just the frame outline of the shape. So you can see I cut that sort of egg-shaped oval there, and then I cut the frame. But then I went, no, it's not that. She cut just different size shapes and layered them all on top of each other. And so I said, okay, I need to go back and cut a new shape. And I wanted to make it the biggest size, so I should have used the blue blade. And instead I used the red blade, and then I didn't have enough of this left over to do the blue blade. So I had to sort of rethink things a little bit. But basically what I'm doing is taking multiple sheets of pattern paper. I think I have 6 because I think that's what I counted that Paige had as well. Although, you know what? I think looking at hers, I think hers actually had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hers actually had 8. So I could have gone even smaller with these. I feel like you could also, if I'd had the access, or if you were doing this with circles, you could do the center as a shaker pocket. That could be kind of interesting. So instead of the 8th, the very small piece in the center, you could just do a shaker. That's something for me to think about or do again if I do this again sometime, because I do have some circle shaker pockets that I need to use. But anyway, I just cut increasingly smaller sizes of these with these oval pieces from Creative Memories. And I got these from my mom. Like I said, I've never used them before, so this is the first time that I'm using them, and it's going to create a nested look. Now, I will say, something happened. That green piece was a little bit wider than all the others. And it was, it's the same oval shape, just a smaller size. So I don't really know what happened there. If it was like a deformity with the stencil or what, I have no idea. But I end up, I kind of move things around a little bit so that they actually are not right on top of each other, the way Paige's stars were right on top of each other. I end up kind of pushing them off to the side a little bit. This shape would actually be really great for Easter layouts. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't know if Creative Memories still makes this oval cutting system. I'm sure they do. But if you are looking for some Easter layouts or to make Easter cards and create egg shapes, this would be a really good tool to have for that. As it is, I'm using them for zoo photos, and Paige's layout originally had 2, I'm not sure what size they were, but they were smaller photos. And so I had 3. So I said, you know what, I'll cut them down to 3x4 size. And then I went, these square photos look kind of weird with the ovals. And I said, oh, I still have the smallest oval stencil that I haven't used because I didn't go that small with my pattern papers. So I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the photos be that small oval size. And I also end up backing the photo with some of the leftover pattern paper. So obviously each pattern paper has a B side. So for my shapes, I did, the A side. And then I flipped one of them over, and it sort of had it was a pattern. It almost looked like a black bandana pattern. But to me, that was enough of a solid so that it could be a matting for these ovals. Now, the problem with the smaller oval sizes and the photos is that with the blades, so there's an overlay that tells you that shows you how much space you have, so you can figure out, oh, do I want to use the red blade, which gives you the smallest size, either on the going along the outside of the oval or on the inside, or do I want to use the green blade or the blue blade, depending on the sizing and how much space you have. So I didn't have enough space for any of the blades, but I did have enough space if I were to just trace the oval right onto the photo. So what I used was a dry erase marker, and I've used it before. The one I have is actually, it says dry erase marker. It's from Leah France. She creates stencils for people to scrapbook with, like full 12 by 12 stencils, and then your pictures get cut into different sizes and shapes and whatnot to create this very unique style layout. I don't use the stencils that often, but I like having that dry erase marker out, because even if a little bit of it still shows up. So I was cutting on the inside of the black line, and hand cutting is tricky for me. I don't like to do it, but I will do it if I have to. But even if some of the marker still shows up, you can just wipe it off with a cloth. It's really easy because the dry erase marker doesn't stick to the photo like using a pen or a pencil would. So that's just a little tip there if you find yourself in the same predicament, or you need to, I don't know, you want to try to like draw a shape on top of your photo. I think I've used the dry erase marker with trying to like cut my photos into like triangles or something. But anyway, right now I'm just cutting them into ovals, and I had to hand cut them because again, I didn't have enough space on the photos to use the blades. If I hadn't cut the photos down to 3x4, I would have had enough space to do something. But because I had already cut them down, I was very limited. So I just needed to use the smallest size, which was the stencil itself. And then I think I went up like one blade to cut the pattern paper into a mat for all of those photos. So now I'm at the part where I'm going to stack up these pattern papers. And these are just a bundle of random papers. All of them came from, I think all of them but one came from my Paper Issues warehouse box. The other one, I think the green one with the polka dots, is actually an Echo Park, the zoo collection that I was using last month that I purchased from Not Just for Boys Kit Club. But the colors all kind of ended up going together. And I mean, the black pattern paper that goes with anything. And then there's some orange. There was like a plaid that had brown, orange, and green in it. And then there's some green. Some of them have animals. Most of them are like farm animals. But I thought that was still kind of relevant to the zoo. I don't think the St. Louis Zoo really has many farm animals. I know the Turtleback Zoo in New Jersey has like a whole farm animal section. But St. Louis Zoo is a little bit more exotic than the Turtleback Zoo. And that's where these photos were taken, at the St. Louis Zoo. We were going through I think the monkey area, which had just been redone. And there were all these little places for you to put your head into. So you could pretend to be like, I don't know, the monkeys or the lemur, I don't know. So of course my kid had to do them all, and I took pictures of her on all of them. And these are the last photos that I needed to scrapbook so that I could finally put them in my August scrapbook album and almost have that finished. Stay tuned because the baseball photos are coming up, and those will be here on the channel. Do process videos for those. And then my August 2022 scrapbook album will be finished. It's actually more like July and August. I try to fit as many layouts in an album as I can, and usually that takes up about 2 months worth of layouts in one album. If you want to see those baseball layouts and other process videos coming up here on the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And if you're enjoying watching this video, you think it's inspiring, give it a thumbs up because that is super helpful. And then down below, let me know what shapes you find yourself using the most often when you're scrapbooking. I know squares and rectangles, those types of shapes are very prominent because our photos are printed in squares and rectangles, right? But, circles, using circles on scrapbook layouts. I have a whole playlist about using circles on scrapbook layouts. Ovals, I feel like that's not a thing that's used that often. Although I remember I might still have them. When my mom first started scrapbooking using Creative Memories products, they had these, they're sort of an overlay, and you would trace them and then hand cut all your photos into hearts or stars or ovals. And there was like 2 sizes or 2 designs of each shape so that you could have some variety. That was like the big thing back in the day. I don't know if any of you remember that, but I'm really dating myself. This was, I mean, I used them when I was a kid, because I love taking photos. And so I would have photos printed and then I would cut them into the shapes and stick them into my photo albums before I was really like doing the scrapbook albums. Anyway, so let me know what shapes you like using the most on your scrapbook layouts. Maybe triangles. Those can be a little tricky, but they are fun to do. So I'd just love to know that down below in the comments, or just say, hey, you don't have to answer the question if you don't want to. You can just say hi and let me know that you're here. All right, so I have added another strip of pattern paper going sort of behind the stack of ovals and the photos. The photos have been overlapped a little bit. I wanted to do something by popping something up, and I ran out of adhesive squares. So that's something I'm going to have to put on my list of scrapbook supplies that I need to replenish. But the paper the pattern paper that goes across the background, that's actually the Echo Park Zoo collection that I got from Not Just for Boys Kid Club. And that background, that craft with the square triangle-y pattern, that's my mind's eye, and that was in my Paper Issues warehouse box. I'm doing titling with one of the stickers from the Echo Park Zoo collection, as well as some polka dotted alpha stickers from scrapbook.com. And then I'm taking some of my leftover zoo stickers from that Echo Park collection, and I'm trying to like layer them up around the photos. A lot of what I have left over has words on it. I didn't really want to show a lot of words because they're big stickers. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting them in half and then placing them behind things so that it covers up the photos, but it looks like I've got sort of a border kind of going on, a border of leaves, or a border of like that plaid pattern. So there are lots of ways that you can use up your leftover stickers without having to actually use them as is. And I kind of like playing around with that a little bit. Obviously, I'm adding some animals to the layout because it's a zoo layout. So I've got an elephant and a hippopotamus. And basically, I used up a leftover like banner sticker. I didn't have enough, obviously, to go all the way across, but I don't need it to go all the way across because so much of the center of the layout is covered up. So I just had the peeking out on the sides, and I thought that added a nice touch to it. And then the very last thing I will do, I don't even add any journaling to this because I already have other photos from this zoo trip. I just have them all separated into multiple layouts. So there's no journaling for this. So I know what it is. I've already done the journaling on other layouts. But the last thing I will do, I'm adding some enamel dots from Simple Stories, I think from the flea market collection. And then I'm going through and I am spraying splatters of Tim Holtz Distress Oxide Spray in Fossilized Amber and Rustic Wilderness, which I really like both of those colors, and I thought they matched well with some of the colors in the pattern papers that I used, primarily the Echo Park Zoo collection. So yeah, just a couple splatters there. Got to cover up my photos to make that all work. And that's going to do it. So I've got close-up photos to show you things in a little bit more detail. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. And I hope it inspired you to try a different shape, nested or not, on a layout of your own. Please come back next week for more scrapbook process videos, and I will see you guys next time. Happy scrapping.